If Corey Hart can wear sunglasses at night, then Chrome Valdez can wear sunglasses in the morning. What's up, everybody? I literally just woke up and I feel like I could use a little extra sleep. I want to talk to you this morning about a video that another channel just made telling everybody not to buy a solar generator, like one of the portable solar units. The one that he had in the video, I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's from Cheap RV Living, Bob Wells. The reason why I wanted to make this video is because so many people were messaging me because they know I have one of these jackeries and they're like, oh, well, Bob Wells says you should never buy a solar generator. Let's take a look at that video in itself. Like, let's break down Bob's video. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty because I'm not that kind of person. But he had a $1,500 portable battery. $1,500 or whatever it was, $1,400. Who's got that kind of money to buy a freaking portable battery in their van? That's insanity. So he's comparing a $1,400 battery with a $450 starter solar battery setup with a lead acid battery. Okay? Think about if I were to put that basic setup in my van, the lead acid battery, the isolator, the solar panel, and everything else. For one, every one of you would be like, well, I heard you can't put lead acid batteries in the van because they off gas. Exactly. You got all those extra worries. But that setup is it's perfect. It's a great complete starter setup, and there's nothing wrong with putting that in your van. If you want to run wires, put the panel and stuff like that, screw it to the roof. Yeah, it's great. And he is right. You're better to buy that $450 beginner solar setup versus buying that freaking $1,400 battery. That's insanity. So comparing those two things, he is 100% correct in that video. So a lot of people have messaged me saying, Chrome, he says not to buy these. This is a tough comparison when you're comparing $1,400 to $450. Now if we compare that $450 setup to a little $300 setup, sure, that $450 solar panel lead acid battery setup is going to give you way more amp hours, but it's also locked you into the van. Pretty much all your power needs are going to be in your house, and that's it. Where, I don't know, I find this thing extremely convenient for me. I have a battery in the house already. My battery in my house runs everything that I need. This is supplemental power for me. But I also know a few people that have bought this since they've seen my video that are using this as 100% house power in their house, and it's functioning for them perfectly. I met a couple at my meetup last night and they told me, they're like, man, we love that thing. It's perfect. It runs their lights, charges their devices, and they run it off their cigarette lighter while they're driving. He said it's perfect. Me, I like the convenience of something like this because now I can take my power out of my house, where you can't if you have a solar panel set up. Like, take last night at my meetup. People's cell phones are dying, and what? There's no battery at the table. I'm like, don't worry, guys, I got you taken care of. Bam! You throw that on the table, and everybody can charge all their devices on it, no problem. So, I don't know. I'm gonna give you my take on that video. You know, if you're gonna buy a $1,400 solar generator setup, that big, huge one that Bob Wells had in that video, if you're gonna buy that, you're better to actually do a full-blown solar setup because you've clearly got the money. You've got the money, so why not put it into something permanent that makes total sense? But if you only have $250 to $450 and you don't want to fuss with installing solar and bolting things to your roof and having a lead acid battery that's going to off gas inside of your van, then having to deal with how to work that out and all that stuff, then these options are freaking awesome. This is a great option. You got to realize that these little things hit a different market than somebody who wants to put 400 watts of solar or 200 watts of solar on the roof, 2 lead acid batteries, a huge 1,500 watt inverter. You're dealing with somebody who has power needs. They have massive amount of power needs. This is going to hit the market for somebody who it just needs a little extra power. I know this would have been a game changer when I first started in the van. I recently did a video on my stages that I went through in batteries. That little thing would have been a freaking rock star. This thing is a freaking rock star. But I just wanted to make my view on that video, because so many people are like, oh no, he says solar generators are not worth your money. It's true. When you're dealing with a $1,400 or even $1,000 one, those are insanity. If I had $1,000 to just throw out at a battery, I would definitely go with the actual deep cycle route and install those in my van and get myself a solar setup, whether it's the foldable solar setup or something. But yeah, that's just my opinion on it. So when you're watching people's content, including my own content, look at it with an open mind. Look at the reality of what's in that video and look at the comparison and say, is that even a viable comparison? So think about that stuff. Think about, oh, he says solar generators are bad. Well, would you buy a $1,400 solar generator? If you wouldn't, then that video means nothing to you. Does that make sense? I would never buy a $1,400 setup. I would flip the bill on something for $300 because it's $300, gives me some power, gets me started without dealing with all the headaches and ruckus and drilling holes and stuff that most beginning people don't even want to wrap their head around that part yet. Yeah, this is a freaking awesome option. And the best option about going with something small like one of these Jackeries or any other kind of a portable power source like that is, you know, when you do happen to put a deep cycle power source in your van like I have, then I can use my deep cycle to charge this bad boy, which is what I do. That's how I charge this. When this get down to 50%, I plug it into my deep cycle battery and I allow my house battery to charge my portable battery, because this in van life, I think, is amazing, especially if you're an outside your van kind of person. And I am. I'm an outside of my van kind of person. I like to have power at the tabletop. And you know, if I'm on a ferry and there's no power outside of the ferry and I want to work on my computer outside while I'm ferrying from the island here back to Vancouver, well, boom! I can do my work up there if my laptop's not fully charged or if it's going to be a long ride and I need power. Perfect. So that whole don't buy a solar generator thing, use your own common sense when it comes to purchasing things that you feel right for yourself. Don't buy that huge $1,000 or $1,500 or $1,400. And I've seen them at bigger. The Gold Zeros and shit are up to like $2,000. Don't waste your money on those things. That's an insane purchase. That's nuts. At that point, put the real ones in your van. And he's right in that video. Don't waste your money on that $1,400 one. Get something smaller, whether it's that foldable panel on the roof. And keep in mind too, when you're watching those videos, on where those people live. Like, keep in mind when I talk in my van about solar not being so important, I also live in Canada where we get a substantial amount of cloud. It's not overly nice out here all the time. So my solar is going to be kind of hit and miss for about 6 months of the year. Where if you get someone like Bob Wells and all them, those guys are in the deserts all the time. They're always down in that side where it's sunny year freaking round. So solar makes 100% sense. So use this little thing of yours and buy the things that you need for your van that feel right to you in here. If this feels right, buy it. If putting solar on your roof feels right, buy it. It's your van, it's your life. Build it your way. Do it exactly how you want to do it. Don't let anybody influence your decision. Common sense. Figure that thing out. Let that thing work, because this will make your mind up for you, because common sense is a beautiful thing. All right, you guys, I will see you on the next one. Time to go get a coffee.